G'day Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's an NRL Media Watch Episode 9. I was going to let this one pass, but the more I've read the articles again, and I just want to... I'm basically talking to people who have made comments regarding, John Khoury stepping down, that it was, basically echoing the Buzz Rothfield story. Suggesting that it was a coup, that he was stabbed in the back, mentioning Gus Gould had something to do with it, and all that sort of stuff. And I just want to discuss some of the tricks that Buzz and the Telegraph use, well, Newscorp, whether it's the Telegraph or Courier Mail or the local rags, which just repeat all the same stories. The issue is that they manipulate the wordings that they use in order to be sort of vague, and people sort of get this picture in their heads of a situation which is completely inaccurate. And I believe it's important that you can educate people on this stuff so that they can see the tricks and the lies and basically know not to say anything, really. So we had this situation where Buzz has announced it. Now, the big issue I had is that it deprived John Khoury from being able to, step down on his terms under what he had to say. And look, Buzz obviously got the heads up from somewhere, because it was true in the fact that he was stepping down. And that's one of the main issues, is that there is some little weasel fuckwit out there, whoever it is, that is leaking shit to the media and has been doing so for quite a long time. I know of a couple of names, which I won't repeat, because, it's a big accusation to make, but there are some little weasels out there that are trying to progress their own sort of careers and stuff. There's a couple involved in the Bulldogs. There's a couple who have been around the club a long time, and a couple that are trying to sink their teeth in and sort of make something of their lives, and they do that by giving little heads up to the media and stuff. And they're just weasels, they're snakes, and no better than Buzz Rothfield himself. But let's talk about why it's also important that, the thing is, the major fact out of this is that stability is still there at Canterbury. The wording that they used in the article initially was bloodshed, a coup, stabbing him in the back. They essentially make reference to the fact that Khoury hired both Aaron Warburton and Gus Gould 3 years ago. Well, let's get the timing right. It was 2 seasons ago. It was the end of the 21 season. They had no influence on that season whatsoever. And the mere suggestion that it's 3 seasons is purely there to agitate fans and to also give that rhetoric that, 3 years seems to be a time frame that coaches and administrators are given to sort of make change and to basically dish up the side that they're happy with. And they're trying to already advance that discussion around Serrato and Gus, particularly because there's no one in the top 30 now that was in it in that year, in 2021. And the very fact that, they're trying to make out like this season basically is a line in the sand moment for Canterbury, and if they don't perform, well, it suggests that Gus has got it wrong in Serrato, in picking Serrato, and Serrato doesn't know how to coach and all this sort of stuff. When really it's only Serrato's second pre-season. He doesn't have the team that he's been looking for unless the players that are within that team step up and say that they are worthy of representing this great club moving forward. And that is essentially what people need to understand. They're trying to position all this turmoil, and as soon as Canterbury has any issues on the field, they're going to bring it back to this disruption at the start of the season that there was this coup on John Khoury. The players aren't affected by this decision. And people must know, he was planning, the plan was always for Adam to step up. The plan was always for John to step back, to roll back his involvement slightly, to free him up for some time with his kids and his family and stuff like that. Not saying I know the situation, but that was communicated to me by a few people who are sort of in the know. And when I say that, the only ground I'll give is that potentially John wasn't looking to step down from the role right away. Definitely within the next 12 to 24 months is what I was thinking. So that's the ground I'll give, that this has been pushed early. But the way he mentions in the article that Gould and Warburton were talking to John, etc., that John's good mates with Adam and another fella on the board, he's basically trying to make out that John's been stabbed in the back, and that's not the case. And they also, in the Dean Ritchie article, which is the second article, which is written a lot better, but still doubles down on a few different things, it suggests that people close to John, felt his disappointment. Well, when he got the chance to actually talk for himself at the AGM on Sunday, many in the room concluded that he wasn't holding back, he wasn't watching his words, he wasn't hiding anything. He spoke candidly, he spoke off topic at times, he spoke for quite a long time. He was definitely proud of what he's achieved and looking to be proud of the further achievements that happened while he is still on the board. And that's what people need to understand. The board has gone through unopposed. It's the same 6 members. It isn't a volatile board. It's not normally the board which is at ends with each other. It is generally what happens is you get, when things are going wrong, people emerge who have their own interests, have interests of other businesses and stuff like that. They all generally love Canterbury. That's the one common denominator, and think that they can do a better job. They run together as what they call a ticket, and if the members believe they're going to fix things, they bring them in. So when Ray Dibb was ousted, Lynn Anderson ran on a ticket with a bunch of people, and 6 of them were elected overwhelmingly to take over Canterbury. So we're not like the West Tigers, where we've got all these different factions on the board, one half representing the Tigers and half representing Western Suburbs and stuff like that. It's a board full of business people. They haven't changed. They've got huge resumes. It's a volunteer role. It is good for their resume. It is good for opening up doors and opportunities. It's a huge operation, Canterbury. But the most important thing is that they're all business people, even though a couple of them are ex-players in Thomas and Peter Mortimer. And they know what they're doing, and they've done it well so far, and they will continue to do it well, with John Khoury rolling back his involvement slightly. The thing about John is he answers questions in the middle of the night to members. He always made himself available, and he's kept that promise. And he'll probably continue to do so. So thank you, John. You've done a great job. But I just want to make the last point. We cannot allow Buzz Rothfield and the Telegraph to try and, for the searching of clicks, to destabilise our club. They're going to say there's destabilisation when there isn't. They've tried to make out that Gus Gould and Aaron Warburton had something to do with this. They are employed by the board. The board employs these people. They don't control the board. They, the experts in their roles, they are paid well, and what they do is liaise and have relationships with the board, but they don't have a vote. And if the board says doesn't want to approve something that they want to bring forward or do, they don't approve it. Okay? It's as simple as that. Obviously, there's a lot of consultation, and the board would be obviously, be happy to go along with many of the decisions because Gus and Aaron are experts in those areas. But they have the final say, and that's how it works. But the main point is, one of the other main points is that think about what happens if you allow yourself to believe in all this outside noise, and we bring in a new board and they get rid of Gus Gould and they get rid of the CEO and they try and come in and want to tear it all down and do things again. What is going to happen with the kids in our club? What is going to happen with the players that are there now? I'll tell you exactly what happens. We go into the situation that we're in with the likes of Paul Alamotti and Avarillo and Morgan Harper and a whole bunch of these kids, where before they've even played a game of NRL, they're in the top 30, they're on good money, and you've got people thinking about themselves, and you've got all this situation where their managers are able to get them more money because the club basically needs these kids to stay. Now, we've got a bottleneck of talent at the moment. There's heaps of them there. But that's what will happen because they've made relationships with Gus. They want to play for the Canterbury jersey. They're doing great things. Some of them just have no interest in going anywhere. But the managers of these kids, if they do have talent and look like they could be NRL first graders, will get them more money earlier because of the instability. They'll feel that all the promises that have been made to them, or all the, if they hold up their end of the bargain, that Gus and Serraldo and the like will hold up theirs, and they start to need more money to stay. And the same with the players that are here, like the Kick-Ours and the Burtons and that. They will want more money to stay. And that's what happens. So you can't, we need to just wait, give Serraldo and Gus the proper amount of time, which I believe is another couple of years, where we start to show improvement. Those kids that we can see on display, we haven't won Harold Matts in a very long time. We haven't won Jersey Flegg in a very long time. We look like we could be doing big things in New South Wales Cup as well. And we've got a team with much more depth in it that, if we have injuries, we have much more ready-made first graders in the side. We still need some more top 13 players, and we're a bit light on them props. So hopefully the ones that are there make the step up and are able to get long-term contracts. But if not, we'll need to bring balance to that squad with a few more big boppers that are definitely NRL quality and wanted by all teams in the competition. That's where it's at. And then we allow those juniors to filter through. But if we sit there and play into this noise, play into this rhetoric, and, start stamping our feet and saying we want it now, we've waited too long, all we're doing is prolonging the pain. So let's give them the space and the time to get things sorted, and that way we'll be in a position to really improve and know that whether we've made the right decision. You can't sit there and keep kicking out coaches and administrators and expect things to happen. And with the board, John hasn't been kicked, definitely not stabbed in the back. I think there's just been discussions with the board and the whole club that maybe it's the best if they, knowing his situation, have it ready to go now. Anyway, guys, that's my thoughts. Thanks for listening. Go the Bulldogs.